When I think about it, these functionalities, is there some kind of system or structure to how they're organized? Yes.
SAP roughly divides them into four main blocks. There are services centered around the topic of data management. I can run a HANA cloud database in SAP BTP, similar to the one that's also used under SAP S4 HANA. But I also have other options for storing data, for example, using object storage, NoSQL databases, or a classic Postgres. So I have a lot of ways to store data in the sub-ED. The next major area is analytics. We already touched on the analytics cloud earlier. It's definitely the biggest service in that area. Subdata is also part of this when it comes to bringing data from different external systems into a unified format. The next area is artificial intelligence. SAP offers a range of services related to AI. For example, there are services that provide document recognition. That means I upload a PDF and the service tells me the type of document it is. Is it a purchase order, a delivery note? And then it can also extract the relevant data, which can then, for example, be automatically posted in an S4HANA system. In addition, there are also options to build your own AI, apps using the AI business services, which is a whole world of its own. That all falls under the topic of AI. And the last major area is integration and application development. And that's also the area where many customers initially get started with SAP BTP. And integration and app development is something that almost every customer has to deal with.
Yeah, I can totally relate to that. It actually sounds pretty straightforward. I think it also helps clear up some of the mystery behind this buzzword. And that's why we're talking about it. Because you and we both believe that you simply can't avoid BTP in the long run. And that's why I think it's also important to address this hesitation. I mentioned it earlier. I don't want to use the word fear, but just to take away that apprehension and just get started with Zyligar. You also mentioned earlier that products are being discontinued, so you have to react. And 2027 is basically just around the corner by the time you actually get started.
It's close now.
It comes faster than you think. Now, we've been talking in pretty general terms about the possibilities of BTP, but you've already gained a lot of experience in concrete customer projects. You're still actively involved and will continue to be involved with your Link 2 team, supporting customers, collaborating, and continuing to develop things together to bring these possibilities out into the world. Do you maybe have a specific use case from your current environment that you could share with us so we can hear how it actually works or has worked in practice?
Does it? Yes, exactly. I think we can actually go through two use cases. The first one is it's a use case that many customers have. The topic is the central SAP Fiori Launchpad. If a customer is already using a UIF of Fiori apps, it's usually on stack. For example, on an SAP S4HANA system. And if I also have other peripheral systems where I allow end users access, for example, a software as a service solution like C4C, then it can make sense to set up a central Fiori launchpad in the SAP BTP and then integrate the apps from the peripheral systems into a central launchpad there so that the user has a single point of entry into their work environment. We implemented this for a customer. The advantage here is that I can also provide these apps to external customers and partners. For one customer, we created a portal where external partners and customers can create orders and they can book appointment slots to manage the pickups accordingly. Complaints can be submitted through this portal, so these processes are becoming more and more digitized and less manual work is needed. This is a key topic, essential touch point in the SAP BTP. Another very exciting topic comes from a customer in Denmark. Together with my team and the customer's development team, I implemented a demand planning solution in SAP BTP. We started that over 3 years ago. The customer was one of the first to use SAP BTP for themselves and to implement applications on SAP BTP. We built over 50 UI5 and Fiori apps, which the internal planning teams can use to do their planning. Plan-in looks like this. I have a lot of influence and factors that we upload into SAP BTP. For example, these could be historical sales data, like how many units are sold in the last period. But there can also be manual influencing factors that I add in as well. Here, we're talking about the sale of toys. And if, for example, I know that next year a new movie is coming out, let's say Star Wars or Harry Potter, then I assume that sales of Star Wars and Harry Potter toys will increase by, let's say, 20%. Based on experience from previous years, I know this, so I can enter that information. Based on all of these various critical influencing factors, which were either automatically uploaded into the system or manually entered by the user, the specific demand for the coming months is then calculated with high precision accordingly and securely stored in the cloud. These planning figures are then regularly, either monthly and or weekly, sent to SAP APO to be further processed there. And that's how the customer plans their demand on a monthly basis and exactly uses the options available in SAP BTP for that.
That definitely sounds very tangible and a lot less theoretical than some of the other stuff, right? That's why it's a very, very concrete example where you can really imagine what the benefit is for you.
And in this project, SAP BTP has definitely established itself. We were able to automate manual processes with it, which significantly reduced the error rate. And the planning itself has also become much faster now. With the tools we built there, planning could simply be done faster. It really established itself and was a success.
But I think it's also important to understand for anyone listening right now.
Yes,
It was a success,
yeah,
and it's still a success, and it's ongoing.
correct.
Exactly. Making this benefit more and more tangible.
Yes,
That's interesting. Yeah, parameters for demand planning. That's obviously important in both production and retail.
yeah, it's super specialized. The customer originally started with SAP APO, but then realized that the planning they wanted to do wasn't compatible with APO. So they decided to implement everything in SAP BTP instead, and not to expand SAP APO in the process.